What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Shots Fired podcast with DP. I am the host, Despop, aka Jay Simino, and today is 27 April 2026. Hope everyone is having a good day. And today I'd like to talk about tasers in today's Rage Rants with DP. Tasers fucking suck. I repeat, tasers fucking suck. They only have like a 50% success rate, yet cops love them. Sorry, boys, you've been sold a huge bag of shit. Whatever happened to pepper spray, capstun, saber? My timeline is constantly bombarded with failed taser deployment videos. And what do you think happens when you go to tase a psychotic, drug-fueled individual and it fails? Well, we can see by the daily videos, shit pops off. It enrages them. You thought they were out of control before the tase? Check out how they act after the taser fails. Very often, it ends in shots fired. Tased, taser failed, suspect flips his shit, cop has to turn him into a human sprinkler. No pepper spray. How about these nitwits? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Renee Good was justifiably brained for much less. Tase him? You can hear the cops demanding the taser. What the ever-loving fuck, bro? Did it work? Nope. But it could have gotten those in the driver's path killed. Now this one I can't explain at all. Dude gets body slammed, gets up and squares away? What the ever-loving fuck? Then when all else fails, the taser comes out. Dude, there's two of them and only one taser. A taser only engages for 5 seconds. Then you have to remove the projectile leads, reload a new one just to blast the other kid. They just beat the fucking snots out of you and you reach for the taser, which would only affect one of them. Pepper spray would have put both of them on the ground crying like little bitches. I'm telling you folks, tasers suck. And this cop is so lucky to be alive relying on this bullshit.
Listen to me.
Here's another one. First off, if you ever back away from a suspect while holding a taser and they still advance, quit and become a firefighter. You don't ever fucking back away. But did it work? Nope. You see, the one cop even drop his taser right by the suspect. Well, what happens when that suspect picks it up? That's right, shots fired into a crowded lobby. Now, in this case, pepper spray would have cleared out the lobby, but it certainly would have stopped that dude. No one hurt, no potential for shots fired. What did I hear towards the end there? He has my gun, or something to that effect. Once again, relying on the taser put the officers, the suspect, and everyone in that room in danger. Stop fucking relying on this bullshit. Folks, pepper spray doesn't even need a direct hit. If you're within 50 feet of that burst, you're going to start coughing uncontrollably. That at least gives the cop a little advantage, don't it? What the fuck? Now let's check out a couple use of force videos.
What did I do? Oh! Oh! I got that on fucking record. I got that on record too. That's crazy. He just said it. Wow.
Now this one is hard because I can't see the suspect's right hand during the punch. He's clearly pulling his arm away, and if that arm is not handcuffed, then that punch is A-okay. However, if both hands are cuffed, that's a no-no. No strikes to the head area, bro. But again, it all depends on that other hand. If he's resisting that handcuff being placed, yeah, you can tag him.
Dude. Let go now. Get out. Let go now. Get out. Sir. Get out. Let go of me. Let go. Get out. Let go. Get on the ground. I'm not getting on the ground. What the f is your problem?
If the trooper says out of the car, you obey. If they say hands behind your back, you obey. It sounds harsh, but here's the raw truth. We've seen too many officers hesitate, try to be too nice, and never make it home to their families. The side of the highway is not a courtroom. It is not the place to argue your rights or resist the badge. You comply, you survive the stop, and you fight it later in front of a judge. But watching this always sparks the exact same debate. Where is the line between a cop establishing absolute control for their own survival and crossing into excessive force? Did this trooper do what he had to do, or did he cross the line?
This one here, perfect. Strikes to the ribs on resisting subjects is what's taught. He's using physical strikes, no weapons. Understand this, folks. Compliance is not optional. Even if the arrest isn't lawful, you can't fucking resist. Now, I know no one wants to hear that, and yeah, it sucks to live in a world where you could be hemmed up for nothing, but the only thing that matters is what does the officer know in the moment. What most people don't know is that most state laws state clearly in the statute that resisting legal or illegal arrest can't do it. That means if the officer is doing everything on the up and up, not going rogue or acting unreasonably, and later finds out that he's got the wrong guy or the victim or witness lie, this, that, or the other, but in the moment the cause existed, you can't fucking resist. Just do what you're told, sue, and cash your check later. Yes, I know it's inconvenient as fuck, but do you want to live or not? Do you want to get lumped up or stay lump free? You can't kill the cop, so dealing with it on the street is not optional. Compliance is not optional. Case in point, I'm hearing this might have been the wrong guy. However, these cops were not acting with malice. They were provided information, they acted on the information, and this dude fought like crazy. Every fucking strike this douchebag received in an over 7-minute video were 1,000% justified. These cops were not rogue. They were not acting unreasonably. This is not police brutality. The dude could have complied. It would have gotten sorted out. And then, in that blue cesspool, he could have contacted an attorney and had a check by the end of the day. He dictated that response. Fuck him and his non-existent father. Now, check out how this lady handles her shit.
Trying to kick me off squad if I don't get a DUI.
Back in December of 2024, Brianna Longoria was pulled over.
7th Street in Monroe.
I realized it was for me. I thought you were saying I ran a
You
lot.
did run a red, but also your lights in the back are on.
On 7th Street, Brianna was put through a series of assessments, an eye test, walking test, and breathalyzer.
000 that I thought.
Despite blowing zeros, Longoria was put in cuffs.
So I just made sure you're prepared. Okay, so I'm gonna place you under arrest.
Oh, I am?
In a police report, the officer wrote Longoria, quote, showed several cues on field sobriety tests.
Was supposed to be the best time of my life when I had so much going on. I'm in a cop car. You know? I didn't deserve that.
A lawsuit filed by Longoria say the officers discussed pressure to make DUI arrest while processing her. In this video, you'll see what Brianna's lawsuit claims was said.
They're going to kick me off squad if I don't get a DUI. But I have seriously pulled, like,
No, there's nice, so I don't care.
But I'm like, I can't just conjure one up. I have tried.
You can.
Blood tests came back negative for drugs and alcohol, and the charges were eventually dismissed.
It was a disaster. A nightmare.
Phoenix police won't comment on ongoing litigation, but the case is currently under review by the Professional Standards Bureau. And a Phoenix PD spokesperson tells us the department does not have DUI quotas.
First off, that is fucking awful what was done to her. And contrary to what you may think, I'm not a cop apologist. Fuck, I have a segment called Dumb Cops. What other former cop does that? But now she's got a Fed lawsuit going. She will never have to work again for the rest of her life. And yes, what she dealt with was abhorrent and vile. But guess what? She still has all of her teeth. More importantly, she's alive. I hope she sues that department and city out of fucking existence. That's how it's done. Different topic, but what is it with these cell phone vids, flooding social media, showing these brutal attacks? Now, these aren't caught randomly or by chance. The motherfuckers with their phones out know it's coming and catch it all. Why the fuck aren't we charging those people, or at the very least creating a law to target those people? I can say with 1,000,000% certainty that if a family member of mine was targeted like this and attacked, before I ended the entire bloodline of the attacker, I would eliminate everyone remotely associated with the person holding the cell phone. Straight up. Anyone and everyone holding a cell phone and not intervening would be fucked. This is completely out of control at this point, and it needs to change quick. Okay, end of rant. Now it's time for the final call. On this date, April 27th of 2018, police officer Jesus Cordova of the Nogales PD in Arizona was shot and killed while attempting to apprehend a carjacking suspect in the 2900 block of North Grand Avenue at approximately 2:45 p.m. The subject had carjacked a vehicle in Patagonia and fled from Santa Cruz County deputies in Nogales, where he attempted to carjack another vehicle. Nogales officers had responded to the attempted carjacking and located the suspect inside of a car. As officers attempted a traffic stop, the man exited the vehicle and opened fire on Officer Cordova, who was still in his vehicle. Officer Cordova was struck multiple times. Officer Cordova was flown to a local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. The man then fled the scene and carjacked a third vehicle. He was located a short time later and taken into custody. The man pleaded guilty to 39 charges, including first-degree murder, in August 2019. A month later, he was sentenced to life without parole. Officer Cordova had served with the Nogales PD for 1 year and had previously served with the Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office for 10 years. He was survived by his 3 children and expectant fiancée. Also on this date, back in 1975, Officer Michael David Stewart of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Florida, was shot and killed when he and another officer responded to a robbery and sexual battery in progress at a restaurant on Atlantic Boulevard. The other officer was shot and wounded. One suspect was killed and the other suspect was apprehended and executed for the murder on January 30th, 1985. Officer Stewart's death prompted a citizen campaign to donate money to purchase bulletproof vests. His partner survived when the bullet hit a ballpoint pen in his breast pocket, deflected it around his ribcage, and saved his life. Officer Stewart had served with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for only 1 year. He was survived by his wife, parents, and siblings. And lastly, on this date, back in 1897, Officer Charles Ware, Indianapolis PD, Indiana, was shot and killed after responding to a disturbance at a saloon near Georgia and East Streets. The suspect was arrested a short time later and sentenced to life in prison. He escaped in 1899 but was recaptured. He was paroled in 1917 despite his life sentence. Officer Ware served with the Indianapolis PD for 1.5 years. May they all continue to rest in peace. And we'll end with a timeline cleanse, but before that, to all those out there struggling with that demon, remember to stop, breathe, survive. Later, bitches.
You stupid! I fucking hate you.
What are you doing?
Get him, Jay. I'm not a cop.
You got DP'd.